What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV with your host here, Dano, giving you the best content that you're going to find on the internet. And it is just you, the Positivity Posse, here with me today. And we are going to be talking about my 4 best strategies or tips in order to really live a happy and fulfilling life. And I'm so excited to bring these ideas or strategies to you guys because I've implemented them in my life, and I can't begin to tell you guys how much of a turnaround and how much this put me on the right path of purpose, passion, dedication, and just living the life that we came on this earth to live. And whatever our dreams tell us to, or anything that we're dreaming, that we can live that life. But here are my 4 keys in order to do that. And you might have to bear with me because, of course, technology is always acting up every single week. And this is what it is when you're in the show business. But just stick around with me. I'm going to be getting up back and forth because the mic or the mouse doesn't want to connect, but that is okay. We still have to go forward with everything. So I'm just going to play a few commercials right now. Stick with me. And we're going to be talking about the 4 main ideas or strategies. And here they are. Number 1 is unlocking our true potential. Number 2 is mastering the art of happiness. Number 3 is dismantling old belief systems that do not serve us. And finally, we have everything that we need to build unshakable great self-confidence. So there it is, everybody. Here's the show opener. And like I said, just bear with me for a little bit while we get this mouse working. And we're going to continue to go with the great vibes, the great positivity, and everything that we need and everything that you experience week in and week out on Weekly Dose of Dano TV. So here it is, everybody. Thank you. And let's roll that show opener. All right.
5 years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they can have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, 2 teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com.
What we do is very interactive, but very, very powerful because, look, yeah, I was an educator for 30 years. I don't believe in just academic education. The lack of character education, which is what we do, changes a culture, and it doesn't take 3 months or 3 years to do it.
we are the guys that come in that will teach these kids everything that they need in order to really be the best version of themselves and to get the skills to succeed in life, no matter what life throws at them. So everybody, I have to come a little bit closer to the camera in order to fix this mouse issue that we have going on, but we are okay and we are ready to go and we are rocking. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the four main ideas and what I think what we need to achieve in order to have really successful lives in anything that we're doing, right? It can be, if you want to be a police officer, or if you just want to really sail the seven seas, or whatever it is that you want to do in this life. We need these four things, and I'm really excited and happy in order to bring it to you guys as well for today. So I'm just gonna reach in a little bit, and we're gonna get started with everything because it's time for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. So here it is, everybody. Let me just hold this closer. You can see my bright, beautiful, smiling face, and there we go as well. And it just went out of focus, but that's all right. So just to give you guys a little bit of a recap or a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be doing, here we are right here. Here are four strategies that we're going to be talking about. So number one, we're going to be unlocking our true potential. Number two, we're going to be mastering the art of happiness. Number three, we're going to dismantle old belief systems that do not serve us. And number four, we're going to be shaking and building unshakable confidence. And not shakeable confidence, right? Because that's not what we want. Imagine if you were to build a house on a foundation that's shaky, right? What's going to happen? It's going to fall over eventually. If it's going to take that one thing in order for it to to make it fall. So we don't want unshakable. We don't want shakeable. We want unshakable. So here it is, everybody. Let's start with the first one, and we're going to be starting with unlocking our true potential. And just one more thing before we get started. Like I said, I have noticed a lot of things on social media or things that I've encountered in my life where not many people were talking about it, whether it's the topic of mental health, or even if they are talking about mental health, they just say, oh, well, everything's bad and it's all doom and gloom, but we don't really get, or I haven't seen anything that we can do to take actionable steps in order to fix and in order to change what's going on in our lives. Because everybody likes to say, oh, well, it sounds great, but how do we actually do it? And that's what we're going to be talking about here on this episode as well. So let's dive right into it. Like I said, number one, we have to unlock our true potential. And there are many different ways of going about this, but I think the number one thing that you need to do is you need to have the self-awareness, right? Because if you're not aware of what is going on in your life, or you're not aware of the thoughts that are happening in your life, then we can't really decide to take action, right? Because I know that when it comes to anything that we do in our lives, like if we are discovering that we're not happy, or we're discovering that we want more money, or we are discovering on the flip side that we are happy and we're doing everything in our life correctly, you have to be aware of it in order to keep it on the right path if you're on the happiness path, or if you are tired of going down that road of negativity and unfulfillment, then we have to be aware that we're on that track as well. So there's things that we need to do. I think the best indication to really tell us if we're happy or unhappy in our awareness, the easiest way to tell is looking through our emotions. When we're going about our everyday lives, is most of the day, just crappy and we're at a negative mindset and just everything's starting to piss you off? Or is it that you look at life with beauty and the people that come into your life are nice and they interact with you? Or is it, anything in between? Just look at what you're feeling throughout the day. And I guarantee you that's the best, easiest, and biggest way to determine what it is that we need to do to unlock our true potential. So like I said, the number one thing that we need to do is be aware of it. Number two, find what emotions we're feeling throughout the day, because they're our biggest indication of what's going on. And in order to understand that, though, we have to dive a little bit deeper. And here it is. We have to understand our strengths and our weaknesses. So if we're going about our days every single day and we're just constantly thinking we're not good enough or we're not strong enough, and we're focusing kind of on the things that we don't have developed in our life, then we're really focused on our weaknesses. And that's not really the best way to go about life, right? Because we'll just end up thinking, we'll go into a negative thought process. So we're just thinking that we're not good enough, we're dumb enough. But instead, we need to focus on our strengths. Really, what are you providing to your community? If you're going to a job every single day that you don't like, you have to think about it that, okay, well, I'm strong enough to provide for myself and for my family. I'm willing to do the work to do what I have to do, even if I don't prefer that position. I'm still doing it to make that money. And yeah, so like I said, it's really on what we need to understand what our strengths are. If you are a person that you found your gifts is the power of speech, or you have a gift behind a camera, or if you have just a strengths, really start to develop your life based on those strengths. And whatever weaknesses we do have, those things are there in our life to tell us what we need to improve on as well, right? So if we notice that in our job that we have a short temper, or there's some things in our lives that piss us off, whether it's people or situations, uh, we need to work on that short fuse if you consider that a weakness. So those things that are weaknesses are not necessarily a bad thing. You can give them a positive definition to say, okay, I need to work on this. And I promise you, once you start to understand our strengths and weaknesses, we can start to tailor our lives to benefit those strengths. And when we reinforce our weaknesses, then those turn into strengths too, right? And then if we're, defended and fortified on every single area of our life, which is possible, but let's start a little bit smaller. If we are fortified in as many areas in our lives that we can be, then that is the step in the right direction to be fortified to live that life of unlocking our true potential. And that's so important because, like I said, it really speaks for itself. But I've been on this journey for a few years now, and through the power of meditation, which we're going to be talking about later, and the people that have come into my life that have told me what I need to work on, and having that awareness, that is when things really started to change. And now the things that I wasn't so good at in the beginning, I can start to get good at now because we work on it every single day. And that's another huge point, which I'll talk about a little bit later. This is not going to happen overnight. This is going to take years and years and years of refinement and practice. So why start now? I mean, why not start now? To really jumpstart our life full of dreams and wonders and full of riches, or whatever it is that you want to live. Let's just talk about some comments that we got going on here right now. Dano, thank you. Dano, my guy Lewis, it's nice to see you. Thank you for commenting on YouTube. We got the I love this. This is what we say every single day, and it's absolutely amazing. And right here we got speaking facts. So thank you for dropping that as well. So like I said, going back, we got my boy Sebastian Torres right here. Appreciate you, my guy. My boy, teach and preach, you already know. And not only teaching and preaching, but understanding that we do live this lifestyle every day. And man, every single day you are able to find happiness, no matter what it is, even if it's for 5 seconds. That is the emotion and the 5 seconds that we really need to dwell on, because I promise you, if you just sit there and sit in that positive energy of happiness for those 5 seconds, you'll start gathering and garnering other thoughts that will just lead you to that path. And then that source of creativity and inspiration will start to sprout solely because you focused on those 5 seconds. And one more thing too, before we go on to the next tip in order to unlock our true potential, is that it's not a bad life. Whatever it is that happens to you that it's not preferring, or it's not coming out the way that you prefer to, doesn't mean it's a bad life. It's just a bad 5 seconds. But really, it's not even a bad 5 seconds, because you understand that that thing needed to happen in order to propel you to the life that you want to live. So it's not bad. It's just happening the way that it needs to happen to serve our greatest and highest good. So there it is. It's not a bad life. Stop thinking that one thing that's happened to you, letting it affect, your entire day. And I think there's a saying that goes like, if you're a millionaire and you saw somebody steal $5 from you, you wouldn't, give that any attention. You wouldn't let that affect you, because you still have the remaining sum that you have in your bank account. So it's the same principle with time. If you have a bad, minute or 10 minutes, why are you going to let that affect the rest of your day? That's asinine. That's crazy. You're only digging that hole for yourself. And I know that's a big piece that we need to understand, is that the things that are happening in our lives, we did manifest that and we did create that. Man, this is really bothering me. This right now, I guess I manifested this blurry screen. So yeah, but like I said, don't let those bad 5 minutes or those bad 5 seconds really determine and ruin your day, because that's only going to bring more of that as well. So like I said, unlocking our true potential, the number one thing I think we need to do is to understand our strengths and weaknesses. And next, we have to set goals. So if you have been on a boat, or you know anybody that's ever sailed, and you ever been on a cruise or anything along those lines, you understand that the captain, and you understand that you have the destination already set in your mind. Now, you may not know what's going to happen along that journey of you going from that point A to point B destination, but you know that you're going to achieve that destination no matter what. So that's what we need to focus on. If we don't have these goals in our lives, right, and you can equate that to the destination, you're just going to go around life kind of aimlessly, and you're not going to know where you're going to end up. So imagine if you were to, sail from Florida and you didn't have your destination. You can end up all the way on the other side of the world, or you can end up on any coast or any port that's on the East Coast or on the West Coast. So my point is, if you don't have that goal, you don't know where you're going to end up. And yeah, it's nice to be in flow and to kind of understand that it's going to work out for you no matter what. But if you have that target destination and you say that you're going to have that goal of success, or you're going to, lose that 5 pounds in a month, you're going to gain that $20,000 in that month that you want to achieve, then setting that goal will get you to that point as well. So just be mindful of not going life aimlessly. Write down your goals, and you'll see the different things, whether it's people, opportunities, places that will happen in your life in order to really achieve that goal. So just be mindful of that, everybody, as well. And then the next to unlocking our true potential is the growth mindset that we need to have. And you're probably asking, well, what is a growth mindset? So there's a great book called Mindset, I believe, The Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck, that really dives in to what a growth mindset is. But if you don't feel like reading that book, here's a simple definition for you. So it says a growth mindset is the belief that a person's abilities can be developed and improved through effort, learning, and persistence. So this is a great, really definition to start out with if you don't know what a growth mindset is. Because anything that we want in our lives, whether you want to be, an astronaut, if you want to learn how to swing a golf club and get holes in ones, if you want to learn how to be the best tech hacker in the world, whatever it is that you want to do, you can learn how to achieve those things. And when you look at all the greatest people and greatest athletes in the world, they did not learn they did not automatically come out of the womb knowing how to be a great champion. They had to fail. They had to learn through different situations and circumstances in their lives what it takes to achieve true success. So nothing in this world, I don't believe anybody learned how to do. Anybody had that innate ability to know what it takes to get there. They had to learn it through successes and failures as well. So those three things, in order to unlock potential, we need to really understand. Those are the keys, or my keys, that I want to give to you guys that I've experienced that has really shifted my mindset and has put me on the path of success, purpose, and really just being of service to others as well. So let me just read off some of the comments that we have going on here. We have Jeanette. She says, let's go as well. So wonderful to have you here. Hello, all beautiful souls. And finally, hello, and Dano, your energy is on fire. Keep providing with the golden nuggets. And yes, there it is. So everybody, if you're just joining right now, I know we got some new viewers. We're going to be talking about these 4 things in order to, what I believe we need to understand in order to really live a lifestyle of happiness and to really achieve any of our dreams that we have. So here it is. We just talked about the first one, unlocking true potential, mastering the art of happiness, dismantling old belief systems that do not serve us, and finally, building unshakable confidence. So we're just going to take a quick commercial break because I need to fix this fuzziness that's going on the screen. But don't go anywhere. Like, share, and do whatever you have to do to match my energy in giving you guys the golden nuggets on what we need to achieve to live a very successful life. So don't go anywhere. Like, share, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Actionable is about keeping our families together.
God bless this organization.
So everybody, there it is. I think this looks a little bit better, but there we go. That was our first sponsor. It Takes a Village Housing. Thank you so much for sponsoring Weekly Dose of Dano TV, and to really, put, kind of your money where your mouth is, and believing our vision and believing your vision to help with the women and children that have been affected by drugs and alcohol, and providing them with all the services that they need in order to be that, just a mother, and providing everything that they need to be a successive, cohesive family. So everybody go check out their website, ittakesavillage1.org, in order to support their cause and their journey, because they are doing some very big things in such a short amount of time, and we are grateful to them as well. So go check them out. And now we're going to be talking about our next piece of the puzzle, so to speak, because it's not really a puzzle if you already know what you're doing, but it can be a puzzle because it can be confusing at times, and we may not have all of the pieces right now. So that's what we're here talking about. So the next thing that we need to do in order to achieve the lifestyle and any dream that we want is to master the art of happiness. And I know happiness is not always going to be the dominant, vibration in our lives, because, even if something is simple, I get guilty of it sometimes, where I'm, in traffic and somebody beeps their horn, and that can kind of throw us off a little bit. But happiness is always available in every single day in our lives, no matter what is happening in your life. I don't care if you can bring the most severe, thing that's happening in your life. There is a silver lining to it. And if you decide to take that and to master that art of happiness, other great things will start to follow. And I know when it comes to, let's just say somebody wants to, be really rich, or they want to, they want to drive their Lamborghinis, or lives in the mansions and live that lifestyle of lavish and wealthiness. Well, if you're constantly beating that drum of I don't have enough, or that can never happen to me, or money is evil, or any other limiting belief, then that is what we're going to attract more of. But once we master that art of happiness and really finding the good in everything and living that lifestyle of positivity, we'll just start to get more of that, and it will turn into any riches that you could possibly want, or anything that it is that you desire, because not everybody wants to be rich, right? Some people are content and living with a lifestyle that whatever it is that they define. So it's really universally applied to every one of our lives as well. So in order to practice, or in order to master the art of happiness, this is what we need to do. Number one, what I think we need to do is practicing that gratitude. And that's so important, because for a multitude of reasons. Number one, when we practice that gratitude, we're grateful for all of the things, good or bad, that happen into our lives. And when we start to practice that gratitude, so many different things start to happen. Number one, we turn that negative fuel into positive fuel. And when we kind of have that positive fuel running in our cars, or running into ourselves, which you can equate to cars, right? If you have that going, you're going to go for a lot longer. But if you're, using yourself as negative fuel to say, oh, well, I'm going to show that person that they were wrong about everything that they said about me, that's only going to take you but so far, because you're going to forget, what that person said. I mean, you're going to remember how they made you feel, but you'll end up forgetting what they said about you. And then you're like, oh, well, why did I even start this again? Instead, when we start to practice that gratitude for that person saying that to us, to light that flame under our butts, like I said, great things will start to happen, whether that's people, places, or opportunities that come into our lives that will really get us on the right path of getting towards that gratitude as well. So the next one, what I think we need to do in order to master the heart of happiness, I talk about this like every single week, and it is that meditation and that mindfulness practice. I know when it comes to meditation, we can kind of think that that's only reserved for monks or people that are spiritual, but it doesn't have to. It's really anybody can apply it in their life, and it doesn't have to be a straight up meditation. It can be mindfulness practices as well. So in case that whole word meditation or mindfulness is kind of scary and you don't know where to start, there's so many different places on YouTube that you can go to that they will provide to you guided meditations. So there are people on there that are experts and know how to curate and create a meditation, whether it's for self-confidence, whether it's for reprogramming negative beliefs, whether it's, you have a cold and you want to get rid of it. Anything that you could possibly think of, they have a meditation for it as well. So, and they have great teachers on there that I listen to that I was like, wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. So it doesn't have to be as scary as what you may think of it initially. And like I said, there's so many different things of that we can do in order to practice that mindfulness, right? Number one, I think we should practice on our breath. So if we take a few moments just to breathe in for about 4 seconds and then breathe out for another 4 seconds, obviously that's the quicker version, but we will start to be more mindful of the present moment about what's going on in our lives. So we can say, wow, that flower is looking so beautiful and pink. And then, that'll really get us on the right track of where we need to go. So you can kind of think of it as like a reset if you're going through a negative mind space, and then it'll get you a reset to really, go on that positive mind space as well. So you can talk about mindfulness being an examining of our emotions, of what's going on at the moment. So like I said, if you're just, have you guys ever had that time? I know it's happened to me a few times where you're just going around and you're like, man, I'm so mad, but I don't even know why. And then eventually, once you have that, mindfulness and you're focused on those emotions that you're feeling, you can say, all right, well, I forgot what I'm mad about anyway. Or when you do remember it, you can give it and imbue a positive meaning to whatever it is that we're being mindful of and for our emotions at that time. And then we can switch it to really be fast tracked on that mindset of positivity as well. So like I said, examine your breath, examine your emotions, and then obviously live in the moment too is another way of practicing mindfulness. There's a great book by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of the Now. And I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest books I've ever read, but it tells you really what you need to do in different practices that we can practice or execute in our lives in order to really have that meditation or that mindfulness as well. And if there's something that you guys want to talk about, whether it's meditation or mindfulness, if you practice it, please share it in the comments and let the Positivity Posse know about the great things that you have experienced as well. Because I know I can come up here and just say all these things and they may sound nice and cool and happy, but take somebody else's word for it as well and really find what it is that people are talking about when it comes to meditation, because there's so many physiological benefits that a lot of people can talk about, whether it's reducing stress, whether it's improved sleeping or better blood circulation. But there's also those lists of things that don't happen in our bodies, that happen in our minds, that happen in our spirit as well, that will start to get us on the right track, and things that you really can't measure, and breakthroughs that will happen in your life just by practicing these meditation practices or being mindful as well. Enlightenment is the biggest one that I can give you for the spiritual side of the meditations, and just being aware of who we are. Because yes, we may, be a race car driver or whatever titles that we have given to ourselves in our lives, whether you're the son of somebody or the wife of somebody, or like I said, you're a NASCAR driver, you're a janitor, or you're black or you're Puerto Rican or you're white. All of these things are titles that we have given to ourselves, but it's not really the true essence of who we are. And once we have that meditation practice, we can really dive deep into who we are, kind of where we came from, what we stand for, what our morals and our values are. And it gets a lot deeper than that. But I don't want to overwhelm you. Just start out with that, and you'll see such a world of a change happen in your life, whether it's one time after that meditation or it may be 7 times after. You will, I guarantee you will start to see the benefits and really start to be mindful of what it is that we need to work on in our own lives as well. So I just want to talk about some of the comments right here. Here it is. Jeanette says meditation is so vital, it works. And yes, it is so vital. It is so important. If you talk to anybody that has practiced meditation over a long period of time, whether it's 3 months or a year, they tell you it is just as important as eating food and drinking water, because that is just so vital to everything. Like you said, Jeanette, it's just as important as that. And once you start to practice it, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. We have Lou right here that says guided meditations are awesome. I've used guided meditations before. I've had trouble falling asleep, and they've really helped. I know that's a big one for people as well, whether it can be as severe as insomnia or just, scrolling before their bedtime and just kind of keeping ourselves up. It can be as simple as that. So thank you for providing that as well, because like I said, they can work for any single thing that you could want. And that you can want and anything that you desire. Anything from, like Lou said, falling asleep, to gaining your riches, or to manifesting your dream partner, or whatever it is that you want to do. These guided meditations are the truth, and I encourage you to practice that as soon as you can. Even if you get off this this episode right now, which I don't recommend that you do, but you go type in a guided meditation for whatever it is that you desire, whether it's confidence, it can be anything. I know I said that so many times, but it's so true. So go check it out, and you'll see a world of a difference that'll happen as well. And in order to master the art of happiness, there's one more piece of advice that I want to give you guys, or a strategy, and it's building positive relationships. So relationships don't always have to be external. I think the biggest one that you can develop is yourself, your relationship with yourself. How do you talk to yourself? What barriers or what parameters are you setting for yourself? Are you holding yourself accountable? Are you letting other people walk all over you? What is that positive relationship that you're building with yourself? And that's the most important one, because we train people how we want to be treated. So if you have somebody that's in your life that isn't treating you correctly, it's probably because you allowed it to happen, whether it's over a course of several months or it's just the beginning of a friendship. When you have that positive relationship with yourself, you'll understand what you can tolerate in your life and what you won't tolerate. So that's the biggest one of importance. And once you have that positive relationship with yourself, it'll expand to family, friends, coworkers, and everybody else in between as well. But that's the most important one, is the relationship with yourself. And everything else will reflect. So how is it that you treat yourself? Are you thinking that you're somebody that's high value and high worth? Are you going about in your life thinking that you deserve the maximum amount of money that you can give, or the maximum amount of love that life has to offer you, or to experience the most luxurious experiences that life has to offer for you? All of these things are built into our positive relationships within others. But in order to have positive relationships with others, we need to have that positive relationship with ourselves first. And so like I said, when it comes to mastering the art of happiness, those are my 3 biggest tips to give to you. Practice gratitude, really incorporate meditation and mindfulness in your everyday life and in your routines. And then finally, building positive relationships. But that all starts with how we talk to ourselves and what's the relationship that's going on within ourselves as well. So we're going to hear a word from our next sponsor, which is we see a comment on here. Let's talk about this comments first. Relationships are of the reflection and love we build with others. Be a beacon of light in those relationships, and other people will start to follow as well. So I know I just added that into the end of your sentence, but it's so true. Think about that person, whether it's yourself or other people, that when they walk into the room, they command that presence and they let their light go first. I can guarantee you that person has a healthy self-relationship, with themselves and with everybody else around them. And that's when other people will start to become attracted to that light. And when you have those other people that are being attracted to you, so many different opportunities, so many different ideas of love and idea of fun will sprout. But it all starts with that relationship of what's going on within inside of yourself as well. So we're going to hear a word from our next sponsor, which is the Great Success, ran by Mark Hoverman. So if you have any young people that need help with SAT prep, ACT prep, or just better overall grades in their life or in their academic career, please reach out to Mark. And here is everything that is going on with Great Success. So reach out to them, and we'll be right back after a word from Great Success.
At Grade Success, it's our job to make sure that your child succeeds in school regardless of the subject or grade level. Our tutors are trained professionals who know how to promote learning and encourage results. Whether you are looking for help with SAT, ACT prep, private and group tutoring, K-3 reading programs for your child, or educational consulting and college counseling, here at Grade Success, we can help you find the right answer. Visit gradesuccess.com to learn more about our in-person and online program options. Grade Success, where your child's success is our business.
What we we do is very interactive, but very, very powerful because, look, yeah, I was an educator for 30 years. I don't believe in just academic education. The lack of character education, which is what we do, changes a culture, and it doesn't take 3 months or 3 years to do it.
We are the guys that come in that will teach these kids everything that they need in order to really be the best version of themselves and to get the skills to succeed in life, no matter what life throws at them. So everybody, thank you, and a big shout out to Great Success as well. Thank you for sponsoring Weekly Dose of Dano TV and the Power of Choices, where me and Mark Hoverman go into whatever facility or academic environment that you need, whether it's a camp, a school, and everything in between, to teach kids about mental resilience, about substance prevention, and anti-bullying as well. So if you are interested in that, please reach out to us, as you saw on the screen as well. You can reach out to info@thepowerofchoices.com if you want to learn about more information on that. But now we have to continue with the episode, and here it is. So when it comes to really living out our dream lives and really going on that track of happiness and fulfillment, the third thing that we need to do is to dismantle belief systems that do not serve us. And this can be one of the most difficult things that you could possibly do in your life as well, because this has been ingrained in us, whether it's by society, whether it's our communities, or whether it's even our parents or family members at a young age. And if we've been on this earth for a long period of time, that's everything that we've known in our lives. And in order to really deprogram from that and find new programming, that's going to take, years of practice. It's definitely doable. And nothing is really set in stone when it comes to our belief systems, right? Because I'm pretty sure there's something that we believed before that has probably changed our ideas now. And you could take some of the biggest things that happened in history, right? Like gravity wasn't even a thing before. And now through, different belief systems, we all have come together to really recognize that gravity is a real thing. And the same thing as, the old solar system beliefs and the stars and everything in between, that wasn't even really recognized back in the day. And I believe the gentleman got killed for it. I can't think of who it was. But anyway, like I said, anything in this life is not set in stone. You can change your belief system as soon as tomorrow, but you'll see really the effects start to happen from that. It can be instantaneously, or it can be 5 years down the line, but you won't know until we actually go and really dismantle that belief system. So I think some of the most, prominent ones are really revolved around money. If you kind of have that negative belief system, or it can be within self-confidence. So I know that the most popular one when it comes to money specifically is, money doesn't grow on trees. And when you hear that kind of limiting belief system when it comes to finances, it's really kind of the opposite of having an abundance mindset. To really think that there's a finite amount of money in this world, that you're not worthy of that money. Anything that really kind of revolves around that is really coming and stemming from that idea or that belief system that money doesn't grow on trees. Well, how is it that there, an infinite amount of blades of grass in this world and an infinite amount of drops of water, but money is any different? That really doesn't make sense, because all those things are energy, right? Trees, grass, water, concrete, all of these things are forms of energy, and money is no different from anything else that it relates to. So don't ever think about that. But like I said, you have to really identify where they came from. So, we have to see where they came from, which I said before, it can be from a myriad of different places. It can be television programming that we saw, last night, and that's our belief systems now. It can be the news outlets or the media that we watch on social media. It could be our family members, our friends. There's so many different ways, but when we kind of find the source of where it came from, we can say, well, that's not really the case. I've lived some X amount of years of life and I found that that wasn't true. Then we can start to really dismantle where it came from, the source of it, knock out the foundation, put in a new foundation, and really live life based on what that new foundation is. And right here, we need to really reframe what the limiting beliefs are to us. So instead of saying money doesn't grow on trees, you can say there's enough money out there, enough, more than enough for me. There's an abundance of money out there. A big one that I say is, you know how the government's printing billions of dollars every single day, right? So why is it that it can go to all these other companies and organizations, but it can't go to me, right? That doesn't make any sense. I'm worthy of it. I know that it's like I said, if you're worthy of it and you're doing everything that you can in order to manifest that money and proving to yourself that you do deserve it, then there's no reason why we can't have it. And like I said, so really reframe the limiting beliefs and to make it more serving towards ourselves. And then we can create empowering beliefs as well. So these are all the old ones, right? If we were to take this moment in time right now and say, all right, I'm just going to leave all the baggage and leave all the negative experiences that I've had in the past. And from now on, I'm going to create some empowering beliefs. Well, what would those beliefs look like? You have to label that and you have to find whatever your ideal is, right? Whatever your ideal is in those empowering beliefs, you have to live those out right now. So what does that look like to you? What is your relationship with your beliefs with yourself? What are your beliefs with your family? What are your beliefs around money? What are your beliefs around success? What are your beliefs about, so many different areas and factors of our lives? We can create new ones at any given time. And we really have to focus on those new positive ones in order to really see the changes happen into our life as well. It's one of the biggest things too is that when it comes to creating these empowering beliefs, a lot of people think, oh, well, I need to see it to believe it. Well, has there ever been one single experience that you've experienced happiness with? Is there a single experience that you experienced love with, that you've experienced a great amount of money, that you've experienced strength, that you've experienced courage with? If there is, which I know there have been, right? Because it's not all bad. You have had those experiences. You have to use that, idea and use that evidence that if you can experience that love, that abundance, that power, that courage, that strength, if you can experience it once, you can experience it over and over again. But it's up to us to really see and understand that if it can happen one time, it can happen 2 times. If it can happen 2 times, 10 times, 10 times, an infinite amount of times as well. So we're not limited to, oh, well, that experience only happened one time and I was only happy in that moment of time or that period of my life. That's a negative belief system. Instead, think that it is possible to live that experience of love, courage, strength every single, or whatever it is, you can live that every single day as well. And it's don't limit yourself with thinking that things are only a one-time deal, one-off. That's so not true. It can happen every single day of our lives. So the next one is, because we only have a few minutes left. This hour, when I tell you guys, goes by so quickly every single week. It's just the best hour, I think, of my week, just sharing it with the Positivity Posse. And so we have to fit in this last one right here in this next short amount of time, this next few minutes. But here it is. It's building unshakable confidence. So this is, I think, I don't want to say the hardest thing to do, but it's the one that is probably going to take the most amount of time with, because there have been so many different instances in our lives that we can think that, whether it's rejection with, females, I'm talking to my guys, or, rejection from that significant other that you want to have, or maybe it's that test that you took in school that you failed on and you still remember how it made you feel at that time, or you didn't make the sports team, or, there's so many different things that could happen that have probably shaken our confidence, but it doesn't have to limit us in any single way. So that's why I think that this one might be a little bit hard to do in the beginning, but it definitely is doable. So in order to build that unshakable confidence, what is it that we need to do? Well, the first step that I think we need to do is to understand our self-worth. So when we understand that we have a birthright to whatever it is that we want in our lives and we are deserving of it without having to lift a finger, that is when these confidence will start to happen in our lives. So understanding that self-worth, that could be so many different things. So, like I said, once you understand that self-worth, your decision making will start to go up. Your relationships with your coworkers at work will start to go up. The quality of the things that you perform in your life will start to grow up. Your physical health will start to go. When you understand that you are worthy of whatever it is that we want to achieve in our lives, that is when real big magic starts to happen. And when you act that, like I said, when you understand that you are worthy of everything and anything in this world that's positive, then that's a big step in order to really having that unshakable confidence. Because think about it, if you think that you're not worthy of having that thing, then that's not practicing unshakable confidence. But when you have that positive self-worth, that is when we can go through life with the faith that everything is working out for us, with the faith that it will work out for us, and that you can't get it wrong, and that nothing is going to happen in our lives that's not meant to happen for us. So you have to understand where your self-worth is, how you view yourself. When you're waking up every single day in the morning, really, talk positive things about yourself. I like the way my hair looks. I like the way that I'm able to talk with other people. I like the way that I perform my job. I like the way that I feel when I'm performing my hobbies, when I'm talking to other great people. There are so many different things that we can do to understanding what our self-worth is. And when we start to reprogram it, that's when, like I said, magic starts to happen. So here's what Jeanette says: create your own reality. We are powerful beings. Don't limit yourself. Yes, 100%. We're more than capable of achieving anything it is that we want into our lives, whether it's I always use the same kind of ideas over and over, whether it's living that lifestyle of luxury, whether it's finding that happiness every single day, whatever it is, because I believe that's what most people want every day, right? We didn't come on this earth to live in lack. We didn't come on this earth to live in, a negative space and fear-based practices, any of that stuff. That's all been programmed to us by things that we don't even agree with anyway, right? Because if somebody were to come up to you and say, well, you're stupid or you're an idiot, you're like, what the heck are you talking about? That's so not true. I'm full of, positive ideas. I'm full of great ideas, and you're not going to talk to me like that. So these really negative belief systems, just going back to that really quickly, you don't agree with them anyway. We don't agree with them. So why are we even entertaining those ideas? And why are we letting that seep into our conscious mind, and then into our subconscious mind, and then that reflects into our reality? That's asinine. That's crazy. So, like I said, really understand that your self-worth is your birthright. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You are perfect the way that you are. And yeah, there's some things that we can improve on, but we are worthy of having whatever it is that we want in our lives. And in order to build that unshakable confidence, we have to take action. And when we take that action, we prove to ourselves whether we're right, that we are worthy of having these things, or we prove to ourselves that there's some things that we need to work on and we aren't perfect. But when we take action, it's demonstrating to ourselves. And if you believe in a higher power, it really shows to them that you have the faith that it's all going to work out, that you are putting you're walking the walk and talking the talk. And taking action is one of the most important things that you can do, because things aren't just going to happen out of thin air. You need to take action in order to find a reaction, right? You need to make a deposit in order to make a withdrawal. If we want to talk about the bank, for instance, it's not just going to happen out of thin air. You understand that you are supported no matter what you do in your life, but we have to take action in order to have that unshakable self-confidence. And I just want to talk about a quick relationship. This can work in relationships as well, right? So if we have a lot of practice with going up, I know for me and my boys, when we go up to the women at the clubs or just on the street and we start talking to them, we're taking that action. Now, the result of that may not be exactly how we want it to happen. We might get rejected, or, they might say something that we don't like, but that's okay, because that's really giving us that action and giving us that unshakable self-confidence. Because you're like, all right, well, I know how to navigate through this situation now. And that rejection is ultimately leading us to that unshakable self-confidence as well. So it happens in so many different ways as well. And we need to take that action. So here it is. We have Jeanette that says, thank you for these tips on how to live our best lives. Great information. Take action. There are great things awaiting for us when we take those risks. And then hashtag great show. And then hashtag positivity posse as well. And then finally, when it comes to building the unshakable confidence, we need to have that sustaining confidence, right? So in order to do that, we have to feel that feeling of success and knowing that every single day that we go throughout our journey, whether it's day 1 or day 375, when we have that understanding and we're feeling that success as we're actually going through our lives, then that's when the fun really starts to begin. And you're like, wow, well, I wonder what's going to happen today. What great things that, will I have to maneuver through, or what great things will manifest for me today because I've put in the work and that I've been setting that affirmation and that attention that every single day is working out for me, my greatest and highest good. That's one way to sustain your confidence. Number 2 is understanding what happens if we don't have that idea of self-confidence, that pain of not ever trying, or that pain of staying where we are at that moment. We know what's going to happen if we don't change. We keep seeing what the result is. That result is unhappiness. If you're stuck at a job that you don't like, you know what is going to happen, especially if you've been there for a long time, like 7 years plus or anything. In those, I say 7 years because I was at a job that I didn't like for 7 years. And you know what the results were going to be every single day. It was going to be disappointment, anger, frustration, and all of those things. But that growth that we will start to experience is so much better than the pain of staying where we are in that time and moment. And then finally, as well, in order to sustain the confidence and build that unshakable confidence, you have to understand that that time is going to pass anyway, whether you do it or not. So I know people that literally from about 9 years ago at this point now, they're at that job that they say they don't want to be in. And imagine if they would have taken that time and made that decision right then and there to really take that leap of faith. Think about how far along they will be along their journeys right now, 9 years later. And that same amount of time, 9 years, is still passed. And I understand that, if we have family members or people that depend on us, that might be a little bit scary because you're like, well, I have to think about them in the meantime. Well, yeah, that may be true, but I promise you, it's all going to work out for you, and it'll work out in greater ways that we can imagine. It'll just take us to that next level as well. So here's just a quick recap about everything that we talked about, because we are at the end of the show. So number 1, when it comes to unlocking true potential, we have to understand our strengths and weaknesses, setting goals, and having that growth mindset. Number 2, when it comes to mastering the art of happiness, practice the gratitude, practice meditation and mindfulness, and building our positive relationships. Number 3, when it comes to dismantling belief systems, we need to identify limiting beliefs, reframing those limiting beliefs, and creating empowering beliefs instead. And then finally, when it comes to building unshakable confidence, we need to understand our self-worth. We need to take the action and sustain the confidence. So I'll see you guys next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. We have a great guest coming on next week. He's actually was incarcerated, and when he was released on, he was actually incarcerated because he was falsely acclaimed of committing a crime that he never did. So many years passed by, and the evidence showed that it was another gentleman that committed the crime. So when he got exonerated and released, he actually became a lawyer to really fight the system and to help people that have been wrongly, convicted. And now he's helping them with everything that they have going on. So that is something that comes out of a movie. And that guest is what we're going to be talking about for next week. So come along and join us next week on Weekly Dose of Dano TV, where we're going to be talking more about his story. And if you're not following us on our social media platforms, please follow us so you can stay up to date with all of our releases and all the great things that we have going on. And then finally, for our last comment, Lou says, Positivity Posse, amazing show as always. Thank you for all of these great tips. Of course, anything that I could do to help you guys, and you guys always give me great tips, and hearing about your success stories is why we are all able to make this happen, to really give back to one another as well. So everybody, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Stay safe, and really go out there and practice everything that we talked about today. Peace.